I think we are on. Yeah, we're on. It's brilliant. So, hi everyone. My name is Zhenya, and I'm head of MBA Strategy. And this is my colleague, Natalie. So, Natalie is an IELTS teacher, and I invited her to share some insights about levels of the English language and the correlation of those levels between IELTS and TOEFL scores. Because why we decided, so the reason we decided to do this little live stream is because we have a lot of students who come to our teachers and say that they need a particular score, and then we test their level of English, and it turns out that actually their level of English is sort of lower, and the score that they can achieve in IELTS or TOEFL will also be lower than the score that they need. And it's actually quite difficult to explain to people that the score that you're aiming at, you're not ready for it. You actually need to not something unusual. So Natalie drew a little graph here, and she out a scale that measures your length. The scale, what's it called?
Okay, so Zhenya hasn't made this international scale of reachability, which is called SAFER, yes. And it's a common European framework.
Okay. So in every country, wherever you go, all teachers around the world, at least around Europe,
they know, yes, your English level by this scale.
By this scale. Mm-hmm. Okay. And can you tell us a little bit about the levels and sort of what levels are we talking? Can you tell us a little bit about the levels and sort of what levels are we talking about? Because I know that there is an A A level. It's somewhere here, but we're not mentioning it. Why are we not mentioning it?
The scale actually starts at A1 level, which is not acceptable in most academic environment. In some cases, it can be accepted for visa applications and so on. However, for IELTS and TOEFL exams, this level is not enough, never enough. Basically, we start talking level. B1, I mean pre-intermediate, yes, intermediate level, about how they correlate between each other. Let's IELTS in our acceptance start at at 5+, which means that it is usually the minimum requirement that you will have for bachelor programs.
So we're talking about bachelor programs here.
For bachelor programs.
So we're talking about bachelor programs here. Okay.
And TOEFL. TOEFL IBT test corresponds the IELTS programs requirements. Usually they start at 6.5 requirements. Usually they start at 6.5 for IELTS. Sometimes it is possible to be accepted on some conditions to master's programs starting 6.0, but it doesn't happen very often and never in top institutions.
Okay, yeah, but I've seen a lot of master programs there where the requirement is 6.0, so it's not uncommon. But I've also seen like a 7.0 requirement for a master program, and I think even 7.5, but only in top institutions,
like for very top institutions.
For law, masters in law.
For LLM programs, or sometimes for medical programs, but it's very hard for international students to do. Final stage. Yes. If you are MBA program, or in IELTS has to set so.
Oxford and Cambridge requires 7.5.
For language programs, and of language 5, it's 8.
Okay, so but generally, I think it's 7.0. Yeah, is generally like 7.0. That's that's
in most cases.
That's
in most cases. And if we're here for TOEFL, in TOEFL exam, you will have to gain at least 98 points, but generally they rate, but they usually expect you will have to get at least 98 points, but generally they rate, but they usually expect to be 100 and plus
and more. I know that Berkeley in California, their MBA program, actually their requirement is a bit low. I think it's either
95
or 95. It's more likely, but all top MBA programs vary quite sort of. It's quite normal to ask for 100 plus.
There's actually a trick with the requirements, because they can put a requirement of 95 plus, but then they write a average score of
110. Exactly. Yeah, I've seen that. So you need to aim for not for the minimum. I absolutely agree. There are some programs actually that require 104 or 109. For example, if you're applying for Harvard MBA, TOEFL score that you should get in your exam it's 109. And I think in SIAD is 105, and Chicago Booth is 104, and they're pretty strict. So so that's more or less, I can understand this.
How it works.
Yeah, simple graph. What if what if I'm here, like I'm not, my English is estimated as early B2, so I'm not B1 anymore, but I'm very beginning of B2. Can I jump here and score 7.0 immediately if I'm at this level? Is that at all possible?
Oh, before you said immediately, I was going to say that that actually it depends on what you mean by saying jump. Yes, so this is going to be a long haul drive rather than a jump, actually, because the same SEFR level, the committee, they estimate approximate hours that you are required to take to go from one level to another. So from that you study for 200 hours, this is the guided number of hours.
Okay.
Classes to 8 closer to in general English level, and in addition to this, you will have to read additional literature, including fictional literature, actually, series, or you watch which sometimes to improve your level. Naturally, do your homework.
Okay, yeah. So is it the same for to C1? Is it also 250 hours more?
The B2 and C1 is great. Take approximately 300 guided hours.
300 guided hours.
Which they turn into 700 hours in total.
Okay. So, oh wow. So so do you mean like it's 700 hours to go from B1 to C, from B2 to C1?
This we talk in guided time.
So it's time with your tutor, time, and also there is
it's 500 hours of preparation.
So it's time in class plus homework, and 700.
In this case, it will be 300 hours, 300 guided hours,
which converts to 700 of in total preparation plus guided hours. So
here we're talking in general, so we're not talking personal. Yes, each case scenario, because for some people it takes less, for some people it takes longer. It's on the level of hours.
Yeah, with a timer, like, okay. Am I right in saying that it doesn't make any, if I need to go from here, like TOEFL, English language learning, that's going to help me to go from 5.5 to 7.0? It's those hundreds of hours. Is it correct?
I've faced a lot of situations when students came and they told me a story that they needed this IELTS score of 7.0 yesterday. Unfortunately, yes, they have 5.5 today. And how can I do it in a month? You cannot.
Okay,
yes, of
so
course.
You can't do it in a month.
In this case, years will go to prepare, not months even. In very intensive surrounding with all the best circumstances, yes, it would be possible in approximately 7 to 9 months.
So if say a person scored 5.5 and then this person goes to England or the US and sort of goes there for an English language course and is submerged into the English language environment, after 9 months of consistent like talking, listening, emailing, and texting and reading, that it's possible to get 7.0. Okay.
Now the other problem also is that sometimes universities not only pose the overall band score in requirements, sometimes they require specific section. Yes, and each of these exams consists of 4 sections. So it's listening, reading, writing, and speaking. So sometimes they pose like 7.0 with no less than 7.0 in each of the sections of the test. So now here we have a problem because very often we're pretty unbalanced. Our language of language command, yes, is very unbalanced, and very often our speaking, yes, exceeds by much our writing skills. And vice versa sometimes. So in this case, students will need to spend specific time on improving
one particular skill. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So let's say I read a lot, and my reading in English is pretty good, but I'm not in the English speaking environment. So, and I don't watch much TV. So I'm not
probably language barrier.
Yeah. Reading will be good, but my speaking and listening may not be so good. Okay, so what we established is that you actually have to learn English. You have to focus on improving your English skills if you want to go from here to here, and it's we estimate how many from B2 to C1, like 700 hours.
I would say from B1 to C1.
B1, yeah. Okay, from B1 to C1.
700. Okay, yes.
So from B2
exactly, you're right.
to C1, 700 hours, or 9 months of very intense preparation in the English language environment. I remember you also went about how people level they think how they perceive their own English language abilities. And I remember you mentioned that the higher the level, the more confident sort of trick.
It's actually vice versa. No? So at level B1, get overconfident in their language, because this is the time when they start, especially if they travel Europe, easy. The average of European is approximately at level B1, sometimes B2. So they start feeling overconfident and world. And I even watch movies and pretty much. And in this case, you're exactly. They start asking.
5 is not the fair representation,
because it is great. I can get my 7.0. And it's pretty hard to explain that these exams, these tests are just as objective as yes.
I think you know, I think I had that after university. I think I was exactly like you're describing. It's like, I can do that.
Yes,
and it actually took me years.
Here we have a problem, well, actually our students, because it's a little bit random. You can play with half a band approximately in IELTS, and I guess it's about 10 to 15 points in TOEFL IBT, so somewhere balancing between these points, but never in like 1.5 band in IELTS, and it's absolutely impossible to take. Moreover, they start to appeal, because it is possible to appeal to the center or to the exam center and to try to improve your score by just writing a letter, asking them to review your exam. And they pay extra money each time they take the exam, and each time could be spent actually
I'm studying.
It would be so not in terms of the exam, it's certification, because IELTS different problem here level when you practically have to force your students to go and take this exam. They spend half of preparation, of intensive preparation. They've written hundreds, sometimes thousands of essays, and they've read.
Some do, maybe some do.
Yeah, sometimes there are cases, but hundreds. Okay, let's stop on hundreds of essays, and they've read hundreds of texts, and they listen to I don't even know how many hours of videos and audio recordings, and they still feel that they are not ready, because on this level on text, and they start saying like, okay, I don't understand anything, English is stupid, I hate it. Yes. So, and in here it gives back, and sometimes maybe take a mock test to just understand.
Actually, a good idea to go for a test, to take a mock test, and actually, so it's possible with TOEFL. It's possible to like a actual test center, which and be exactly the same as, you know, because it's going to be TOEFL raters. So I actually am not sure whether it's actually good question. If you know whether IELTS test centers offer mock exams, but TOEFL test centers surely do, and those exams don't cost as much as the real test, but you'll get the full experience, the full understanding of what the exam is like. It's really kind of good. It's the experience is really useful. So perhaps you could tell me about maybe you could give a couple of tips on how to prepare, improve your English, and also
with this.
Yes, sort of simultaneously maybe do some work on your IELTS or TOEFL. So what would you advise? What resources? Maybe some websites, tips, your favorite books, and I'll also actually share my favorite things for improving your English.
Okay, so speaking about improving your general English level, my personal favorite of all time, and they finish at C2 level. The only problem with them as of now is that the texts are a little bit outdated, but the higher level of English you have and book you actually work with, several abstract topics, and they become more academic with every level, every next level. So actually, even if this is the only source that you're using for preparation for English, it's possible that you don't. This difference with TOEFL ABT's American test initially. So in there, you will need some support additionally to get used to how TOEFL works. Now, my latest favorite, I would say, is Keynote. It's National Geographic. It's based on TED Talks. And this actual TED Talks to develop grammar and listening skills naturally, which I find extremely interactive and extremely modern. Moreover, if you are preparing using these books, you understand how the system works, how you can actually use any kind of TED Talk for your benefit. So you can pick any TED Talk on the website, and you can go with it and work with it exactly the same way as this handbook taught you to do.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah, you've shown it to me. I've thought that's great invention. Someone did a really good job going through all those TED Talks, selecting them, coming up with exercises, sentences, distinguishing the vocab that you need to learn. Yes, great, absolutely great tool. What do you think about Memrise? Have you ever used Memrise?
Oh, I know it's your favorite. Yes, I've used it, and actually now I have it downloaded on my phone, and I found an extremely complicated, not complicated, it is also complicated as much as it is difficult, GRE vocabulary.
Okay, yes.
And I know that our TOEFL students use it all the time, and those who just managed to download it and just looked at it a couple of times, even they say sometimes that, okay, probably I need to use it more often, because I actually faced some of the vocabulary during TOEFL preparation, and they realized that they need to learn those words.
Okay, yeah. Another favorite of mine. It actually used to be a favorite of mine. Now, not so much. I think the algorithm is a bit maybe should be. It's not just. I think they should be improved. Maybe I'm just stuck at one level because I get just the same words over and over again. It's the vocabulary.com. Have you ever done it? Have you ever tried it?
I just used it a couple of times to get the meaning of some words.
Yeah, it's actually that's a good thing. What I love about this resource, they explain words in a very
funny way.
Very human way. It's not like an academic description such as you can find in a dictionary. It's an explanation your friend can come up with. It's very so basic, and there are examples, so it's very difficult not to get what the word means. So I quite like it. So I used it a lot. And there is another favorite of mine, but it's it just for listening. So you don't train any you don't train vocabulary or reading. It's just listening. It's This American Life. I just love this podcast, and it's there are so many episodes of it. I think they started in 1993, so there are years
watching time,
listening time. So that's about listening, and that's what's really good about it. You can be driving in your car, or just walking down the street, or you're exercising in a gym. It's on your phone. It's a podcast. You put headphones in, spend an hour listening to this podcast, and it's just stories of Americans on different topics. I think one of the most bizarre topics that I remember was a kind of a topic of toys that in fact, like every family has like a toy or a little mascot, and it's not alive, but some families kind of give those toys personalities. And I remember they gathered people who actually did that, who somehow given traits to those toys and guesses to them, and they kind of became parts of their families. I thought it was bizarre, but really extremely bizarre for us. But really interesting. I just find it fascinating because it's like every facet of American life, especially if you're gonna go to study in America. I think it's extremely useful, not only to train your listening, but to also useful for understanding mentality. Exactly. I also I know that we've created an English language course with some elements of IELTS and TOEFL preparation for those people who are planning to take the test in the future, but don't have enough. Their level is not enough, for the score that they need. And we've created this course, and we've incorporated some tasks from IELTS and TOEFL, to give our students the taste of those exams. Can you just tell a little bit about the course, of which levels does it cover?
Okay, so basically, who this course is for is for students who start approximately at this level and they are aiming higher. Unfortunately, we truly are unable to give them a positive result during 1 month's intensive preparation for IELTS or TOEFL.
Yeah, so one month, if you kind of there and you definitely want to stay there, or score just a little bit above.
Okay. Exactly. Yes. So 1 month, it's half a band, sometimes a band difference, just in cases when the student didn't understand the system, how it works. So the English for academic purposes course is aimed at students who want to go from here to well, let's say here, approximately, not C1 level. We finish at B2, basically. And in what they get the instrument, yes, to work on with their language. They get grammar that they lack to improve their score significantly, and they get a vocabulary. Again, this course is focusing on academic vocabulary, not on general vocabulary.
Okay.
So naturally, you get some general words, but not as much as academic words, which you will need in any of these tests, in both of them. Yes. Yeah. So. What else? They get these listening skills, and basically, as you just said, they get a touch, a taste of the exam environment. Moreover, the topics that are covered in academic course, in academic English course, they are a little bit broader than it is ever possible to cover in IELTS and TOEFL preparation specifically. So and they will never get surprised when they come to a test. Yes, so because every single topic has already been covered, and this course is not short. Naturally, yes, it takes approximately 100.
Okay, 100. I thought it was 700.
120 hours. Yes, in general, and a lot of personal effort. Yes, from the students.
Okay, yeah, good. Yeah, I think we sort of more or less covered everything that we wanted to cover today. So yeah, if you have any questions, please leave a comment, subscribe for our updates, because we're going to be doing it every week, and then we're also going to be uploading new videos with our teachers and our students. We're gonna upload interviews with masters and MBA graduates they're gonna share their experience and advice on how to prepare for graduate studies and what to do when you're already there on a program. So stay with us. Thank you, Natalie. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye.